Title: Cardi B weeps bitterly as Stefon Diggs drops reality check on their relationship. The world stood still the moment Cardi B's eyes filled with tears on a quiet Friday evening. What started as a private conversation between her and Stefon Diggs turned into one of the most emotional moments of their relationship, a heartbreaking reality check that sent shockwaves through both their worlds. The calm before the storm. It had been weeks of tension quietly brewing between the rap queen and the NFL superstar. Behind the glamorous photos, the lavish gifts, and the public displays of affection, there had been late-night calls, misunderstandings, and unspoken frustrations that neither could ignore anymore. Cardi had just returned home from a long day in the studio. Her new album was almost done, and every lyric carried pieces of her soul. But while the music soared, her heart ached. Stefon had been distant lately. His practices, travel schedules, and constant press attention had created an invisible wall between them. She sat on the couch, scrolling through her phone, when Stefon walked in, calm, quiet, but with something heavy in his eyes. "Barty," he said softly, "we need to talk." Those 4 words cut through her like a blade. The conversation that changed everything. At first, Cardi tried to play it off. "Aight, talk to me, baby." "What's wrong?" she asked, her voice trembling slightly though she tried to sound composed. Stefon sat down across from her, his jaw tight, hands clasped. "I love you, you know that. But we gotta face something real. We're losing each other, and I feel like we keep pretending everything's perfect." Cardi froze. Her throat tightened as her heart pounded in her chest. "What you mean by that, Stef? We good? We just busy?" He shook his head, eyes glistening with sincerity. "Nah, we not good, Barty. We love hard, but we fight harder. We keep ignoring what's hurting us. I don't want to keep pretending." His words hit her like thunder. Cardi's lips trembled. "So what you saying? You tryna leave me?" He took a deep breath, his voice low and serious. "I'm saying, I need you to see the truth. Love ain't supposed to break us down every other week. We gotta start being real, not just for the cameras, not for the fans, but for us." Cardi's tears and the painful truth. Cardi's walls broke down. She dropped her phone, tears flooding her eyes as she whispered, "You really think I don't try? You think I don't fight for us every day?" Stefon reached for her hand, but she pulled back, shaking her head. "Nah, you don't get it. I've been through too much to lose someone I love again. You my peace when the world willed out on me. How you gone talk about reality checks when I gave you my whole heart?" Her voice cracked with emotion. Every word was soaked in pain, the kind that comes from loving too deeply and fearing that it might all fall apart. "I ain't saying I don't love you," Stefon replied softly, fighting his own tears. "But sometimes love ain't enough if we keep bleeding in silence." That sentence shattered her. For the first time, she saw the fear in his eyes, fear of losing himself, fear of drowning in the chaos that fame and pressure had built around them. Flashbacks of love and chaos. Cardi's mind raced through memories, their first date, their laughter over midnight snacks, the way he held her hand backstage before her performances, the gifts, the giggles, the shared dreams. But it also flashed through the fights, the jealousy, the tabloids twisting their words, and the loneliness that fame often brings. She whispered, "So what we gon' do then, Stef? You want space? You want me to back off?" He stood up and walked toward her slowly, kneeling in front of her. "I don't want space from you, Barty. I just want honesty. I want peace between us. I want us to fix what's broken before it's too late." She buried her face in her hands, her body shaking with silent sobs. Stefon gently placed his hand on her knee. The air between them felt heavy, raw, and painfully real, two powerful souls stripped of their armor. The healing moment. After a long silence, Cardi finally looked up at him. Mascara streaked her cheeks, her eyes red but full of love. "Then help me fix it," she said softly. "'Cause I ain't ready to lose you." Stefan smiled faintly, brushing a tear from her cheek. "We gon' fix it. But it starts with truth, not social media, not gifts, not grand gestures. Just me and you being real." They sat in silence for a while, the sound of the city fading into the background. Cardi leaned into his arms, and for the first time in a long time, they didn't say anything. They just breathed together. It wasn't a breakup. It wasn't the end. It was a painful wake-up call, the kind of reality check that comes not from anger, but from love trying to survive. The morning after. The next day, fans noticed Cardi's emotional post on Instagram. "Sometimes love ain't pretty. Sometimes it's just two people trying to hold on when the world trying to pull them apart. But real love, it fights." The comments exploded with support, speculation, and heartbreak. Meanwhile, Stefan posted a simple tweet. "Sometimes the realest thing you can do for someone is tell them the truth." The message was clear. They were fighting not each other, but for each other. Epilogue, the promise. Weeks later, Cardi and Stefan were seen together again, smiling, holding hands, quieter, calmer. Something had changed. They weren't just in love, they were learning to understand love beyond fame and pressure. Stefan later told a close friend, "That night was hard, but it saved us. Sometimes you gotta break down to build stronger." And Cardi, in her own words, told her followers during a live stream. "I cried my heart out that night, but I needed it. Love ain't about pretending it's perfect. It's about keeping it real even when it hurts." Moral of the story. Love isn't always glitz and glamour. Sometimes, it's messy, painful, and brutally honest. But when two hearts refuse to give up, when they choose truth over pride, that's when love becomes unbreakable. Title: Cardi B weeps bitterly as Stefan Diggs drops reality check on their relationship. The air was thick with emotion that night in Los Angeles. The city that never sleeps seemed unusually still as Cardi B sat silently in the corner of her massive living room, lights dim, her heart heavier than the diamond on her finger. The world saw glamour, but behind closed doors, there was tension brewing between the rap queen and NFL superstar Stefan Diggs. For months, fans had been convinced that the two were inseparable, from lavish vacations in Capri to public displays of affection at award shows. But lately, cracks had begun to show. Stefan, usually calm and private, had been unusually distant. And Cardi, who wore her heart on her sleeve, could sense something was off. The unspoken tension. It all started when Stefan flew out to Buffalo for preseason training. The distance was expected, but the silence that followed wasn't. Days turned into weeks, and calls became shorter. Cardi's messages went unanswered for hours, something that had never happened before. When he finally returned to LA, she was ready to talk, hoping to fix whatever had changed. But the moment Stefan walked into their mansion, she could tell, something inside him had shifted. "Barty, we need to talk," he said softly, taking a deep breath as he placed his phone face down on the marble counter. Cardi's heart sank. Those words always carried weight, they were the beginning of something she didn't want to hear. The reality check. "Look, I love you," Stefan began, his voice steady but heavy. "But we've been living in a world that's not always real. Between the cameras, the fame, the money, sometimes I feel like we're performing for everyone instead of just being us." Cardi blinked rapidly, trying to process what he was saying. "What you mean by that, Stef? You think I'm fake or something?" she shot back, her Bronx accent sharper than ever. He shook his head quickly. "No, baby, that's not what I'm saying. I feel like every time we argue, it ends up online. Every gesture I make turns into a headline. Every word you post becomes a rumor. I want us, not the version of us the world sees." Her lips quivered. "You think I want that? You think I like people always in our business?" she said, her voice trembling. "I fell in love with you because you were real, Stef. Because you made me feel safe, not judged, not like a product. He sighed deeply. Then why does it feel like I'm losing you to the world, Barty? That was the breaking point. Her tears flowed uncontrollably, mascara smudging as she sobbed into her hands. Cardi's emotional breakdown. Cardi stood up and paced the floor, clutching her chest. You think I don't feel that pressure too? Every day, I gotta wake up and be Cardi B. The whole world expect me to smile, dance, act perfect, even when I'm breaking inside. Her voice cracked as she pointed toward him. You the only one who see the real me. And if you start doubting what we got, then what's even left? Stefan's eyes softened, but his expression stayed pained. He walked up to her, pulling her close. That's exactly what I mean. I love you, Belcalis. But sometimes, I think we lost the quiet moments, the ones that made this real. I don't want to hurt you, but I can't keep pretending everything's perfect when it's not. She leaned her head against his chest, her tears staining his hoodie. Then help me fix it, Stef, please. Don't let this be how we end. A painful silence. They stood there for what felt like forever, just breathing. The room was silent except for her quiet sobs and the faint hum of the air conditioner. Stefan finally whispered, I'm not walking away, Barty. But we need to find balance, not just love each other when the cameras are rolling, but when it's just us. No filters. No followers. Just you and me. Her trembling hands gripped his shirt. You're my peace, Stef. Even when I'm loud, even when I'm too much, you're the only one who calm me down. He kissed the top of her head. Then let's start over. No pressure. No pretending. Just truth. The morning after. The next day, paparazzi caught Cardi stepping out of her home, her face hidden under oversized sunglasses. Fans could see she'd been crying, though she smiled and waved faintly at the cameras. Later, she posted a short message on X, formerly Twitter. Sometimes love ain't about who's right or wrong. It's about who's willing to fight to stay real when the world try to make you fake. Red heart. Stefan reposted it minutes later with a simple caption. Always real. Always us. Fans react. The internet exploded. Thousands of fans flooded their timelines with support, urging the couple to stay strong. Some even pointed out that Stefan's reality check wasn't a breakup speech, it was a moment of truth, a call to return to authenticity. But those who know Cardi best said she was still fragile, that behind the confident exterior, she was still processing every word he said that night. A love rebuilt on truth. Weeks later, sources close to the couple confirmed that they were back to spending quiet time together, no cameras, no fancy dinners, just peace. They were seen walking hand in hand near Malibu, laughing and talking like nothing else existed. It wasn't about luxury or fame anymore. It was about healing. Cardi had faced her bitter tears, and Stefan had delivered his reality check. But instead of breaking them apart, it reminded them of what truly mattered, love without an audience. In the end, their story wasn't about the breakup that never came. It was about rediscovery, the courage to face the truth, the strength to rebuild, and the love that shines brightest when the spotlight fades.
도시가 보이곤 해. 그 도시에는 또 다른 내가 하늘에 떠가는 비행기를 올려다보고 있겠지. 난 하늘을 보고 쳐다보고